Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bro Talk. Really excited to be here in front of you all today. This show we talk about brotherhood, manhood, and fatherhood, and everything in between. So this is a special show. We have with us our brothers that are here. We'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. We also got a special brother. He's not a guest. Special brother that's with us today. With what we're going to talk about, which is safe spaces for men, and we really thought that this was a needed conversation, specifically going into the holidays and just thinking about seasonal depression and thinking about some of the things that we harbor as men, and so talking about some of those safe spaces that exist or maybe don't exist. So, want to give you all some time. If you're just jumping on, go ahead, shoot us a note in the comment. Go ahead and share with everybody that's in your networks. We'd love to have them to be part of this conversation. And let's go ahead and get started, bros. We do got one brother that's coming. He'll be fashionably. He'll be
Balo.
here when we get
He'll
here.
just be Balo. At this point, it's just Balo. we ain't gotta make any additional. People
Hey
know.
man, when you love somebody, man, you love every part of them.
Yeah, and you recognize the realities too. So,
So, brothers, how y'all doing? What's going on? What's new?
man, life is good, bro. It's
Yeah.
another Monday, right? Last week was a busy week. Like I didn't think it was going to end, and it didn't because I pretty much had stuff going on from Monday through Sunday. So, but the weekend ended off great because got a chance to drive back and forth to Syracuse a couple days as my daughters were competing in gymnastics competition. There, it was Zoe's first competition since she joined the team, and she got first place, man. First
Wow.
place overall. She got
Yeah.
first place in one of the events, and I think like a second and third in the other two events. So, she went there and she showed out and, did her thing. And it reminded me of Ava when, she went to her first event and she did, exceptionally well as well, too. So at that level. So Zoe was day one, Ava was day two, and she actually went up two levels from last year. So she's competing against some other athletes that have been at that level for a couple years, and she was still able to place in one of the events. So definitely proud of her too, and just reinforce with her like this is the first event for the year for the season. So I think she had a great showing as well too. So I'm just proud of both of them, man. On Sunday, the second day, Eli had his basketball going on. So, we stayed here. I took him to that, and then we shot out there afterwards. So, he's still doing his thing and, showing out against, the kids his age. Last week, we put him up with some, what was it? I think second and third graders. And he still did okay, right? They raised the basket up, and they have some different skills. They throw in some fitness training as well, and he did all right. But when he came back, he was like, "Daddy, I don't know about this." So he wasn't quite ready. So we put him back down to his age group, and he had a great time. So just love to see them grow and develop, and all the work from Monday through Friday, right? That you had to do to make sure that we got to that. It was all worth it. So no complaints, man. I'm
I
doing well.
love
I'm
the
blessed.
non-traditional sports too that your kids are in, man. You talk about gymnastics. That's a sport where in the traditionally we haven't been fully represented in, but with the recent Olympics have come, we're seeing more and more black and brown people taken to gymnastics. I would love to see more men in gymnastics too. I mean, y'all knew people, man. They used to do flips off the gate, flips off the fences,
It's
I don't
natural.
doing
think
like
you ever did a flip in your life, though, huh?
hold on, man. Hold on. Time out. No, wait. Yo, you just got here, man. Hold on. Yo, but for real though, I used to do backflips when I was a kid. So real
Nah.
talk. And I got receipts too, man. Ask Jeremy Smith, ask Balo's people, man. I used to do flips, man.
I was just messing with you, bro.
I couldn't do a somersault though. About to do a backflip. Brock, man, since you spoke up, man, what's new? What's going on in your world, man? I know you're doing a lot of impactful things, bro. So what you got going on?
I'm blessed, bro. I'm just trying to figure out the next threshold. I'm at a point in life where I'm at an inflection point where I'm embracing what I consider, what many people consider that soft life. So I travel a lot. I'm engaged in a number of national presentations where I can get a chance to permeate my field of philanthropy with my voice as it relates to my lived experiences. So I'm in a real good space and place. No complaints. Looking forward to the holidays. The wife and I, we got another vacation coming up. That's our love language. So we like to travel a lot. Obviously, spend time with the family over Thanksgiving, and yeah, I'm in a really great place. So I'm trying to not necessarily take advantage and just harbor this space I'm in right now, but trying to figure out how could I take this to the next level and not stay content, be encouraged to do more, but at the same time understand how blessed I am at present.
Yeah. Now we appreciate that, man, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later on today because I'm sure there's a space or spaces that you had to visit in order to even
Yeah,
get to that place.
yeah,
So
like
we'll
sure. Mhm.
so we'll get there. Brewski, what's going on, bro? What you got going on, man?
Mm, What I have going on, man. Loving life, man. Every day I get up, I could see you brothers, I could call y'all brothers, I could reach y'all brothers. So that's a very plus for me. I'm gonna do some traveling this break, man. You know, take care of some nonprofit obligations. That's true and dear to my heart. Um, I just been chilling, man. Spend some time with the little man, and I'm gonna see my little mama. Spend some time with her, and just get to live in my peace, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't do I try to stay away from drama as much as it comes. My peace, you know, as I get older, man, I found out that your peace is important. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? It is important for you just to so you don't decay. Your body don't decay, your mind don't decay. Because there's times when that happens. You know what I'm saying? Because of what going on around you. And it could infect you at times, you know. So you have to find a way, man, where to figure out where your peace is. What are your purpose? You know what I'm saying? I try to live every day with a little purpose, whatever the purposes might be for today. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's very important. You know what I'm saying? That's why I look forward to come on the show and share what we have to share about family and stuff like that. You know, I'm glad to see my brother on tonight as well to share his give his 2 cents or 3 cents, so whatever cents he has to give, it may connect with somebody.
That
Uh,
brother ain't got no sense, man.
huh?
So
I
that
mean,
brother ain't got no sense, man.
he do. You know what I'm saying? And this show tonight is gonna be a fun one, guys. I know y'all gonna think we don't take it serious, man. But we do take it serious. I just want to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? We do take it serious, but between lines, there's gonna be some shots. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, all y'all got to do just sit back and just laugh and just have a good time. We love each other. Just to let y'all know, I'm gonna put that out there. There's a disclaimer. You know what I'm saying? But this is how we are in private. You know what I'm saying? And in public. So love it or like it, man. But I'm blessed to be here, bro.
And Brew, you just said something too, which we've created a safe space for one another years ago. And Kareem, I know we're going to get into it, and that's the reason
Yeah.
why we still can play and are able to have these conversations, but more importantly, take those shots one another. But we're going to get to this later in the conversation. I'm assuming, but there's a part of me that kind of sheds some of that old skin as well. Like I'm still playful. I'm still very engaging, and I love to enjoy, especially the brothers. But there's elements to life and conversations where I'll probably be a bit more, not necessarily serious or stoic, but I have a very expanded view of life now. So the thing, the way I interacted, let's just 2 years ago will look very different. So that's a disclaimer. So, you know, I don't underwhelm you if I'm not as joking as I once was in the past. I just want y'all to have that at least that context.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all in different phases, and I'm with you, Brock, man, for sure. In terms of that, I think, man, there's having a family, having a lasting relationship. We understand that at some point, there's the boys that come out in us, but there's also the men that come out in us as well. And then when we're talking as men, we're taking care of business, and that's something that we've all been really good at, as well. It's just that people don't always see all sides because, and we were talking about this in the conference that I'm in, is because it just might not be safe to show you all sides. We don't know if you're going to weaponize it or not. So,
Mhm.
we have to just know the people that's in the circle. So when it's us, so when we think about bro talk, I got you, Balo. We're inviting people into, a piece of us that we don't normally show to everybody. So B, if you around, bro, what's going on? What's good? Hopefully you're in a safe place. But just jump on when you can.
Man, I'm in the safest place possible, man. I'm in the church. I'm just wrapping up a deacons meeting.
So you
Um,
was at church. See, I was. How did I know that?
yeah.
I said you
So
probably was at church.
yes, sir, yes, sir. But no, I actually, because I've been on backstage, I've been listening to the dialogue and conversations since y'all started.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, just again, powerful remarks from everybody. Um, want to touch on something my son said real quick, and just dealing with the how you get a new perspective, man, and when you go through certain things, and life will definitely give you perspective. So,
Yeah.
I think this is an amazing talk. I want to throw something out there because I often think people don't really, you know, understand how the depth of the importance of safe spaces and how that was how Bro Talk came to be. We were sitting on Isaac's deck back during the pandemic once they let us come out a little bit, and I remember making a statement. I was like, I was feeling bad because uh, our kids all being kind of in that homeschooled kind of condition where they whatever work they were getting from their teachers on iPads or laptops or whatnot. And I'm like, I felt like I was failing my kids because you were at school all day and then 2 hours on this iPad or this laptop, and you like, well, I'm done with work for the day. And I'm like, I didn't feel like I was supplementing enough, you know, work or academics to be able to really feel confident in letting my son go to the next grade. And I actually, my sons probably remember this. I told him, I said, man, when they do go back, I was like, yo, I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna have a conversation with my wife about, maybe holding my son back. He was in the third grade that year, and my son said, he was like, he said, man, the data doesn't necessarily support that.
Mhm.
It's beneficial to you know what I mean, for a student to be held back, and it gave me a different context about it, and so we've but just sharing that again, having the safe space to be able to outlet that, and then sharing it with bros. Other bros was like, yo, son, you too, like, man, yo, man, I don't know what my kids be learning, because you know what I mean, I'm working, and then they bring me their iPad or whatever, and then I'm like, yeah, you good, and so the whole point is that we were
Yeah.
all feeling the same thing. But how often is it that Black men who are dealing with whatever it is have a space and opportunity, and kind of the safety to really be able to outlet, whatever they're feeling mentally and emotionally on that level, because we have the one thing, you know, Kareem, I know, you know, you had a short part of your childhood and youth, and I know we clown you about living in the burbs, but one of the benefits that you live in your most of your adolescence and youth out there in them neighborhoods is you weren't in a constant space where you had to be in survival mode.
Right.
When you're constantly in survival mode, you disconnect from the vulnerabilities that allow you to feel like I can ever be safe to be vulnerable with people. And that is even something in my adulthood that you know what I mean, I've had to really, man, you have to really get that in your system and in your spirit to be okay with being vulnerable when you haven't had an opportunity growing up to be conditioned that way. And I think that's what so many black and brown men, that's what so many black and brown men do not have, is they haven't had the opportunity to be vulnerable in a safe enough way that allows them in their adult lives to even tap into that vulnerability, even though they're not in the same physical state of survival mode that they once were in.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. So this is special what's happening right now because all of us are here and we were all at Brockport at the same time. So let's start from that point in space and time is how did we, the five of us, create community and safe spaces for each other? Like if because I figured it's best to start it off by having a conversation about something that actually happened, and then we can infuse all the other stuff, you know, inside of that. But let's just start there. If anybody want to take a stab at that.
You know, I'll start and again, just you know, the amazing thing about fraternity and about processes is, you know, what happens amongst brothers will always and forever be amongst brothers. But what I can share is that, you know, one night, James, our dean, had a conversation with Brock and I, and it was like, you know, how well do you know your line brother? And we was like, yo, we've been, you know, we felt like we aced that because we authentically knew one another.
Mm-hmm.
Knew each other's siblings, families, parents, and you know what I mean? Like, because we had an existing relationship before we ever came to Alpha. So we thought we was good. And then, you know, he started asking some more in-depth questions, and it was like, and we was like, man, what you mean? Like, you know, it just didn't land with us. And the car ride home, my line brother took me, you know, we was headed home, we got home, and yo, we sat outside of my mom's house, and man, and boohoo cried in the car, talking, just opening up to one another on a level that we just never had before. You know what I mean? And what was significant about it was because, again, back to that safe space. You know what I mean? You know, so often now growing up in the West Side in the hood, my sons is growing up on the East Side in the hood. But if you didn't know that we were from different sides of town or different neighborhoods or different households, you would have sworn we grew up in the exact same house. That's how similar our stories were. But because, again, you know, not growing up in environments where you're safe and allowed to be that vulnerable with somebody, because vulnerability is preyed on in the neighborhoods we grew up in, we've been able to release that. And then that night, just, man, I'm still free on a level that I you know what I mean, from that moment. It was a level of freedom that I had never experienced before. And again, I will never forget that night.
So, Brock, how did you experience that night? If you want to divulge a little bit into it.
Very, very in the exact same manner as my saying shared. I think it was not. Well, let me back up. I trusted my saying. So Balel, for those who don't understand that terminology, me and Balel, we pledged together. I'm not sure of the audience, like everyone who follows and listens, but look at my niece. I saw my nephew in the back. What's up, baby girl? Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. I'm
Congrats.
proud of you. Super proud of you.
There's the champion right there.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's go, Zoe.
All right, we talking. Take your butt to bed.
But I'll, in the spirit of brevity, I'll just simply say I trusted bRho, my brother, and we've already established that kinship before we had the opportunity to be able to pledge and be part of a process that allowed us to even grow closer together. And one of the things that you, so I trusted, and then I was ready. I was ready because I was at an inflection point at that time when I didn't want to go back to the HUD. Both bRho and I came from neighborhoods that weren't always the most promising or conducive as it relates to our growth, right? So I was at a point when I was questioning and challenging the things that I was taught, the things that I was involved in up until that point, and I wanted more, and I didn't necessarily know how to grasp for it. So I was at a point of vulnerability where I had a high teachability index. My willingness to learn and my willingness to change was extremely high. So I had that trust in my brother. I was at a vulnerable state when I was trying to grow and question things. And then to be honest with you, I was exposed to a different world. So the world of college or higher education exposed me to a diversity of thought that allowed me to again expand my own thinking. Because remember, at the time that we were in school, we had friends that were Cambodian, for example. Being exposed to even that culture kind of took me to places that I didn't necessarily appreciate or took for granted at that time. But as I matured, I realized, like, wow, those were some things that really allowed that was the impetus for my expansion as it relates to my thought process. And then not only the different cultures and the different experiences. And then Kareem, I'll take you for example. Since I'm just widen it up. So that's my sense and experience. But even with you coming from a different environment was a teachable opportunity or was a learning opportunity for me in many teachable moments because we learned from one another. So even though we tried to, at the time, my ignorance probably would minimize the experience of growing up in an environment that wasn't like mine because of it was my ignorance. But needless to say, you was part of the band. You was already doing things in the church. You were doing a lot of things that allowed me again to kind of grow into the man I ended up becoming because of that exposure. Then Bruiser, Mark Guthrie, that brother actually laid the foundation before all of it by allowing and I want to like just I'm gonna be very short here. When Brew created the outlet or created the platform for me personally to be vulnerable by just asking, like, who are you, what's going on, do you need anything, how can I support you, I was so ignorant at that time, like, yo, man, excuse my language, like, what the F is wrong with this guy, man, asking me these questions, man? Like, I just didn't even know how to receive it. That just goes to show, like, how much the brotherhood meant to me. So, but his consistency, again, opened my mind to viewing things very differently than the way I was exposed to prior. So, in short, I would simply say, brothers took a chance with me, Brew being the one. I already trusted my sins, my line brother, bRho, and we were able to build and grow together. And then when I met you, it was that continual exposure. And then Isaac, he just was a dork. So Isaac was like one of the very first. I was used to be friendly dork, so I'm like, yo, this is perfect.
Yo, I love the comedic timing of that too. I knew something was coming, and I was waiting for it. I was like, "Yo, okay, when is it gonna come?"
I was waiting too. It's a long show, though. It's a long show.
I know Isaac is one of my closest friends, and at the time that Isaac, man, he just had a pure heart, and his spirit was in alignment with mine, and the rest is history. So I just, I'll keep it simple. And I know I didn't answer your question directly, Kareem, but that was a way to at least contribute to the conversation.
So I want to hear from Ike now, and then or Brew, unless if you want.
Can I throw this out there before I jump on too?
Yeah.
Is one of because you touched on all of us being on campus at the same time, and one of the things that I'll say that is again amazing about Bro Talk coming to fruition is that when we were on campus, like a night, this would be a typical night where it would be like either we would be having discussion, dialogue, conversation, and again, it was always fruitful, meaningful, impactful. You know what I mean? Depth and brevity to the conversation. But even if it was something we were like, yo, what y'all want to do? There's nothing necessarily planned, or there's nothing, like kind of eventful going on. We didn't sit around and be like, yo, we bored. We would say, yo, what do y'all want to do? Oh, y'all want to, get together, have a few people over. Some phone calls would start getting made. Next thing you know, some food cooking, and it's a good time. Like, so
Brock gave bRho $40. Yeah.
Yo, I mean, again, now, Kareem, you and I wasn't there yet, and bRho was like, I'm not going. But like, even my 21st birthday, there was nothing planned. My line brother showed up, was like, yo, what we doing? I was like, yo, I'm whatever. And next thing you know, I had the most epic 21st birthday party. My point is,
I believe you. The champ is here.
My point is just that we never looked at a void and said, we're bored. We said a void was an opportunity for us every time. Every time we saw a void, we created what we wanted to see. And we manifested it. So, you know what I mean? That, so the same way there wasn't a safe space that existed for Black men, and we realized that sitting on Isaac's deck, having that conversation that day, that we created it, we have always manifested whatever. I mean, and to me, again, the significance of there being a safe space, for me personally, I'm just gonna say, speak for me personally. I can't put a dollar amount or a value on how significant this space has been for me personally, even if nobody has benefited from it. My brother died on a Saturday, and on Monday I was on bRho Talk, and it gave me a space to outlet it. My father passed away on a Monday, and that Monday evening I was on bRho Talk. You know what I mean? And people that were watching, and even you brothers was like, yo, bro, we understand. I was like, no, listen, we created this place to be a safe space for people who were hurting. And if I don't get on here hurt, then I'm not even utilizing what we created the space for. So, for me personally, you know what I mean? bRho Talk has been a manifestation of what we've always done. And that is whenever we saw a void, we filled the void.
And I just want to make clear too, because this just came to my mind, is because I've been hearing a lot of talk about it, is that, we didn't get together and just said, all right, tell me your darkest secret. You know what I'm saying? It never was like that. And I think I speak for all 5 of us. And this is Brock's word. That's mad corny. Like, we don't do that. Like, that's not even the type of time that we've ever been on. But I'll put a period right there for that one, for
nephew,
for the algorithm. So, nephew, what's going on, man? Hey, ain't you supposed to be in the bed?
That's it. I just supposed to be in the bed?
No.
Not bedtime.
No.
He said as long as we can see him and he's on air, he's in a safe
that
space,
that pitch, that no went up real high. It went up like a like, wait, no. But
listen, apples don't fall far from trees. He got his daddy's strong will.
Yeah, you right about that. You right about that. So, Ike, how about you, man? Because I always picture you with the 3 of us in class together. I had on a suit. Balo didn't. And I was sitting up front. And y'all was hanging out together, man. So, and Ike, you have brothers. You have 2 brothers at that, 2 sisters. Like myself, right? I don't have sisters, but I have brothers. But like, you already have people that you talk to that know you, but why this? Like, why put yourself in this type of position?
Yeah, and shout out to Mark, man. This is 2 weeks in a row he's on. Shout out
I know we done shouted out Mark twice.
No doubt, no doubt.
My guy, I just was texting him earlier, man, and we will talk about that later, how the extension of family expanded. But go ahead, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So I think one of the words that Brock mentioned earlier is it, like, and it's the whole idea of trust, right? So, I grew up on the east side of Rochester, on Durnan Street, right? So there's been many and many a times from the time that I started living there till the time that I went off to college that I would drive past William Warfield and drive past William Warfield, right? Like that wasn't just somewhere that you just pulled up and then, everything, was all right. And the first time I remember it was like over the summer, like after, I met Kareem and Bilal in the class, right? And we was kind of, we was hanging out, we was chilling, Brock invited me over to his house. And I remember just coming and it was me, him, and his family that was there. And, for one, like that took a lot of, if you know Brock, you're not coming to his house unless he truly, truly trusts you, right?
Word.
And, for me, I think from the time that I met him, earlier that semester until that summer, like I realized that. And, for me coming into William Warfield at that point, I felt comfortable with him, right? I felt safe with him. I felt like I could trust him. I felt like he wasn't going to put me in a situation where I was going to be in any hurt, harm, or danger, right? Although there was some crazy stuff that was happening in the PJs while I was there, right? But I think that's a big piece of it is just having that ability to trust somebody, whatever the space that you're in, right? And that leads to opportunities to now have conversations. That leads to opportunities to now kind of create, a bond, create a safe space, for conversations to be able to, talk about things that you wouldn't normally talk, with just anybody. And, so I have to say that I appreciate him, for that. I have to say I appreciate the brotherhood for, embracing me. And all this was happening before I became a brother, right? It was just like y'all were us all genuine people that really, created a common interest around, other Black men that were on campus, right? Making sure that they had what they need, that, they were, had the support that they need, that they had somebody to talk to, that they had someone to help navigate, the system at a PWI so they wouldn't, fall down the right path. And I don't know, and at that time, I didn't know if that was something that was designed to happen as a recruitment strategy, or it was just something that was innate and something that you all just did. And wasn't until I became a brother and then I was in that situation that I just realized that, that's just who we are. That's just who these individuals are. That's just who these brothers are. And, kind of being able to see that and be a part of that process and, kind of see the bond that you brothers had and effortlessly, like I said, even before I became a brother, become a part of that network, was absolutely, amazing. So again, it was that trust factor, I think, that kind of initiates that opportunity to kind of create that safe space. And, through that process, and I remember before I even, made that decision to go online, like I didn't really spend that much time with my dean, right? And it was just, some random events where, who's this dude always cooking, right? who's the guy always behind the pot, right? But Bruiser is probably one of the most genuine brothers that you will ever meet in your entire life, right?
100%.
And this has nothing to do with any organization. That's just who he is, right?
Right.
And so I was able to kind of take bits and pieces from everybody and just realize that this isn't something that's fake. This isn't something that's phony. This isn't something that's fabricated. Like this is genuinely a brotherhood where you're really looking to embrace other young men and help to make them become men. So I have to say that I appreciate that. And like I said, we've been rocking out for the last 20 years now. So it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
Now, bro, you came in the fraternity in the mid 90s. And I would assume that we're just perpetuating the same things that happened while you were there and before you became a brother.
I don't think to the magnitude that I don't think it's to the magnitude like how we really hang out to the point of having that safe space.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to Mark Morrison, who shows me Mark Morrison is a lot like Brock.
Oh yeah, they like peas in the pod, bro.
He's
You already know.
and that was my big brother.
And
That was my go-to in the sense of he created a space for me in his house where I could pull up, but not too much people could pull up at a spot. You know what I'm saying? And he was living in a barn. You know what I'm saying? It's my bad, Frat. But the house was dope. It was a dope house, right? The way it was built, and and the rest was history when it comes to that part. So in the '90s, we have a lot of things that we was doing, but we really didn't really hang so hard with each other. You know what I'm saying? And I know Brock was saying, like, who's this guy that be so, coming to me every time, talking about, hey, what's up, man? You good? If you ever need no help, man, holla at me. You know what I'm saying? And, I think he thought I was a weird dude, man. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to say it, but I was saying for it, right? And I think when he see that I was good to go, but me and him end up in the same place. And he realized that, oh, you know what I'm saying? Who Bruce Shorty was. You know what I'm saying? So I think after that, man, he was good. He was
you took her
good.
to Thanksgiving dinner?
Nah, nah,
Bro's consistent. Bro is unlike anybody I've ever met, and Isaac already alluded to this, and I'm saying this sincerely. So it was hard for me to meet a person with a genuine good heart and embrace that, because everyone that I grew up around rats and snakes and just the grimiest of the grimy, and people who would try to get close to you just so they could shank you, will be able to cut you off at the knees. So I was expecting that. And Brew was so consistent. And my mother, who transitioned, was like my ultimate litmus test.
I'm gonna
The one
touch
thing
that.
my mother shared about every single one, she loved y'all. So you listen, if you equal past the Mama Rock test, well, mind you, I'm not gonna bring you to the crib because my mom was like dead honest with a lot of things. Me and my Sam's we talk about,
Yeah.
but she
Oh,
loved
bro.
Brew. She loved Brew. Brew was her son, like literally her other son. So I'm just sharing that. Just yeah. So even though I thought Brew, I don't know. I thought I don't know. I thought everything was suspect with the fraternity. To be honest with you, I'm like, man, I don't know what the hell these. I don't know. But anyways, that's neither here or there. Brew opened my eyes to seeing things from a different perspective. I appreciate you.
And Brock touched on it, man. When Brock and I you know, became brothers, or he introduced me to mom. Her house was like my house. I was welcome anytime. I stole some of Brock baby pictures.
Oh, nasty foul.
Yes, man.
Like that was a Gumby, right, bro?
Yo, the Gumby picture.
Man, I'm trying to tell
Oh,
you.
and the
Woo,
glasses.
baby.
You don't forget the glasses.
Hey,
We still got to get
yes.
them shirts made up, man.
Hey, the wine shirts and everything, man. Stonewashed jeans. Hey, man, listen. I mean,
Yo,
my
you
brother
don't went
was
back to the glasses though, but they
to the
passed
point where
you
he
now.
was over the he was standing over, man. The dude must have made a little turn like this. And man, I don't know how fast I was, man. You know what I'm saying? I told the dude I used to run track back in the day, man. I'm from Jamaica, man. Don't let this little belly fool you. You know what I'm saying?
Back in the day.
I
You
was
ain't run no
gone,
damn
baby.
track. You ain't run track.
I took them pictures, man.
He did field.
Shot put.
I do it all, baby. I do it all back in the day. But I say that to say that he opened up a door for me where I could be. I have a family. I have a mom. You know what I'm saying, that she played that role for me when I was in Rochester. And I have conversation with her all the time. And we shared a lot of little things on the low, but it was a family away from my family. You know what I'm saying? And I look back on it at times, I'd be like, wow, it's cool. And then, me wanted to create having an alpha house because I was in grad school. And I think I tell myself that I wanted to have a alpha house, you know what I'm saying, with brothers in there. and then we could just keep that house. That our stuff be private because time was changing for Alpha, so we need to be more private with our stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then we never had a boring day, like Balo said earlier, because we're gonna cook on the weekends. If we don't cook, we have people that open up space for us to go to. Shout out to Anna. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Anna, and she's a Pai Kai.
Mm-hmm.
She always have a space for us, man. My sister Anna, man, is a beautiful person. You know, another
Love
person that
that.
I say it's a friend and it's a sister to me, and to all of us. You know, we could go to her place. She's gonna cook it up, Spanish food. We're gonna eat. We're gonna have some Kool-Aid to drink. You know what I'm saying? you know, and we're gonna have a good time. You know, but the Alpha House was it for us because I know Brock was the one that was commuting, but we also have a room for him at our house. We have a 4-bedroom house,
Yep.
but we also have a room. I would never let him drink and go home. You know what I'm saying? Keys will be taken away. So I see myself as the big uncle or the daddy for everybody, making sure everybody's good and tell people the truth. You know what I'm saying? We speak the truth around amongst each other. Um, we have a lot of times when the honesty help us get to where we got to go in our life, and even being a better parent, and even me watching you guys being parent before I start having kids. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the oldest. It was important as well to see that, and I see some of the struggles that you guys went through as well. It wasn't all peachy every day. So the Alpha House was one of the main thing, man. One of our space, you know what I'm saying, that hold it together for us. You know what I'm saying? And we all grow. We all grow in them couple of years that we was together.
I want to
I,
add. I just want to add about the Alpha House really quick, and then I'll let you go. B is that the Alpha House and people that was in Brockport circa 2001 to 2006 and 7. Y'all know where it's located, so we don't gotta say the address. Uh, but not only was that like a space for us, so we had time for us to be there, and do what we needed to do, but we also opened it up for other brothers as well. I think about Wes, I think about Jeremiah, I think about a lot of brothers that came through, chopped it up with us or whatnot. And we really had those conversations. So, B, I don't know where you were gonna go with it, but I at least wanted to put that out there just for us to have a discussion about like also inviting other brothers as well, other men, not necessarily in the fraternity, because we all understand that that was a vehicle that we chose to be part of, and we all had our reasons for doing that. But then we had the other people we just knew around the way. We got Mark and remember Mark's crew, all of them guys, from back in the day or whatnot. But how important was that for us to open it up for other people?
but well, I want to say I was going to say this first is
Yeah, go ahead,
um,
bro.
Brew, because I'll tie it in, but
Mm-hmm.
Brew touched on something that he said again, as much as he was joking or it was a light moment. He talked about the picture in y'all we was describing, Brock's younger pictures, right? And again, it brought me back to the thought of how innocent, youth are coming into this world, and then they encounter an outside world, a world outside of the four walls of their house, and you then have to now make a decision like, do I know this is the type of rearing that I'm receiving inside the house, but how much of what I'm being shaped to be inside the house is preparing me for survival outside of this house. And so my point is that to see where my sands is now is a reflection of who we was before having to encounter the world outside of that house that Mama Betty made for them. And then when a safe space is reintroduced, when you have the trust and you're allowed to have a space in place with people who you can be vulnerable with and trust and open up to, and then again, the all of the potential that was inside that same young man back in those pictures was able to come to fruition.
Mm.
And I think that's why it's so important for us
The connection.
to be intentional about creating those safe spaces, because again, whether somebody, to tie to your question, whether somebody decides to become an alpha or not, our conduit and role as black men, so alpha says we're the school for the better making of men.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as alpha is a vehicle for that, if someone does not choose to become an alpha, that doesn't make my task or my responsibility as an alpha man to be a part of the school of the better making of men any less. I don't have any less of responsibility to a brother who does not join alpha
Right.
to be a part of making them a better man than I
Right.
do if they choose to become an alpha. Again, the role and the capacity may be different, but my responsibility is still to be a part of the school of the better making of men. So whether so that's if they came to the alpha house again, and they ultimately decided that they lack the heart and the desire, you know what I mean, then then that was on them, you know what I mean. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, again, that didn't change the responsibility that we all had, and I think that we all embraced that. Love was love. You know what I mean? If you came in contact with any one of us, whether you would out, and I think for you, Kareem, and Isaac, as that y'all both shared, it was the genuine love that y'all experienced and encountered and received before you ever even realized any of us was alphas that
Mm-hmm.
drew y'all.
Right.
Yeah,
So I think that's the point. That what I mean. I'm not. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Oh, there's the pick. Oh, there it is. It's still around.
Yo, bro, how do you have that pick on deck though?
Bro, it was 4 of these, bro. And I tell myself that knowing Brock, I cut him up in 4 pieces. And I hide them in 4 different places. He's not gonna get all 4 of them one time. He walk in my room and he see it, he's gone. So it's in 4 different places, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got
Yo,
4 of these.
we gotta freeze frame that one and replay that clip. Man.
You know what I'm saying?
It's all good. It's all good. All love.
Nah, but just piggybacking on what you were saying, yeah, it's definitely not just kind of creating that space for alphas, but for brothers in general. And one of the things that I appreciate about our brother Mark is that we had to figure it out, right? And when I say we, I say him first, because he was 2 years older than me. So when we were going through school, graduated from high school, the next step, I guess, is college, right? At that point. So, he figured it out. He figured out a way to do it. And I watched him go through that process. And that was probably the only reason why I, was able to make it to that next step and get into college, or pursue college, because I saw how he did it. I had aspirations of going to school, and I thought I knew what I wanted to do, and I thought I knew the path there. But, we just had to kind of figure it out, and we didn't have all the tools that we needed to get there. And, kind of seeing him go through and struggle, but he was always resilient, was one of the things that I also saw in a lot of you brothers as well, too. And which kind of made me resonated with me and made me want to connect with you brothers as well too. So I definitely had to just shout him out on for that, and just kind of watching him and seeing where he is now, man. Salute to doing the great things he's doing.
Just speaking, let's stay with that real quickly, Marcus in particular. And as an extension of this brotherhood, we've been able to not only establish families outside of our our four walls, or the four walls in which we grew up, I look to Marcus, for example, like an extension of my family. Like as far as like me and Marcus, I was like blood brothers. For example, talking about having a safe space and being vulnerable. I had a conversation with him today. And Mark is one of my closest confidants, for example. So if I have a question about something that many people will consider woo woo, and I don't feel comfortable bringing it to too many people, I'll talk to my brother. And he'll always have a thoughtful response. The brother memory is just out of this world. And even when I was going through some trials and tribulations related to, just the grief, being overwhelmed with grief, and then just stumbling to get where I'm at today. And I had to take some time to remove myself from the world, like almost literally, so I can actually, put the pieces back together. I reached out to Marcus even during that time. Like, listen, this is where I'm at mentally. This is where I'm at spiritually. This is where I'm at emotionally. This is what I'm trying to figure out. I'm just now realizing things that you probably was onto. So he served as a guide for me. So talk about safe space. Not only does it take place within this brotherhood, but it takes place outside of this brotherhood as well, man. So I had to shout out brother, man, because I was actually literally, I can't make this up, I was just chatting with him hours before this call about something that, again, I don't bring to everyone's attention because we're not aligned there yet. So
Yo,
That's
shout out to Marcus, man, because
that's important.
it again funny enough that you say that. One, because again, not an alpha, but to our point about safe spaces and just how familial we approach alpha. You know what I mean? Like Isaac's brother became our brother. You know what I
Right.
mean? You know, uh, you know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
know not everybody knows or has met, but everybody knows Patrick. You know what I mean? Old school Raw Alpha brother. But his brother Jude X,
Yeah.
like again, he is like he family. Like yo,
Yo,
if
we seen him in
we
Vegas,
saw
man. We was all hanging out.
we listen saw Judex, you know what I mean, at Patrick and Eurydice's 20th anniversary this
Mhm.
summer. Man, it was like it was like a day hadn't passed since the last time I saw him. It was that kind of love, and it's that genuine. But real quick about Marcus, and again, just what he he's a blessing, and like I don't even think he realized like how much of a blessing like him just being Marcus really is. I remember one of the first conferences. I mean, this is when we was in the heart of our undergrad, kind of just coming into Alpha experience. Marcus was like, "Yo," he was like, "Yo, B man, yo, I never knew like not being Alpha, but being cool with y'all was going like get me not liked." He was like, "Yo, I just met somebody that said, yo, oh," he was like, "Are you an Alpha too?" He was like, "Nah," but he was like, "Yeah, but my brother is." He was like, "Oh, do you know Bilal?" He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah, that's my boy." He was like, "Oh, I don't like him." And he was so I don't like you. So I don't like you. He was like, "Yo," and then as my life began to transition, Marcus was like, Marcus said, "Yo, B, I'm proud of you. And every time I see you from here on out, I'm going to tell you I'm proud of you." And literally every time I would see Marcus, he would say, "I'm proud of you." And I never shared it with him, you know what I mean? How much I appreciated, how much of an encouragement, how much of a motivation and blessing it was to me. But it really kept me going. And I remember last year, Marcus and Isaac lost their uncle. And so, you know, again, if you know them, they not going, they not going, you know what I mean, say, "Hey, listen, I'm going through this, could use some support." I just know when Isaac said his uncle passed, I was like, "Yo, when and where's the services?" And so, you know, I was there, and I don't think Marcus or even Isaac necessarily expected me to be there. But when Marcus saw me, first thing he said, "I'm proud of you." I was like, "Man, listen, I'm here for you today." You know what I mean? And we sat out and we stood out in the lobby, and man, we just talked and hugged and cried. You know what I mean? Um, and again, that's the bond that, you know what I mean, that, you know, brotherhood, family, safe space creates, is that, you know what I mean? So again, I just, you know, Marcus, man, he gets the utmost love, man, because again, that, you know, that brother is, his genuineness and authenticity, man, is second to none.
Yeah, and we're proud of him.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure.
I always like kind of picture Marcus as kind of like a sage. Like he's not flashy, like he stay out the way, he's very low key, but like it doesn't matter who it is. If someone comes to him and they need to hear something, like he's got that, he's got a voice, and he's got that word that they need to hear in that moment, man. And he's not shy to let you know exactly what it is either. So, you know, I definitely appreciate that, you know, about my brother, man, for sure.
You know, I wanted to add too, man. I have because some of us have like friends that we've known probably growing up, and you know, one particularly I'm thinking about right now, who is a safe space for me as well. And uh, Brock, you said something about like aligned in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So with this particular friend, we actually grew up together. He was an alpha for some time, and then decided that he needed to lay that down and needed to focus on some other things that he's called to do, which is, you know, his prerogative. And um, still my man, still my bro, because we was brothers way before that piece.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking about a conversation we had not too long ago, man. I'm like, you know, he's probably one of the few people I could have this type of conversation with. And it ain't even about like judgment. It's just about
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we in a space of alignment
Mm-hmm.
where we all understand each other. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm hearing from everyone is that these relationships take time. They don't just happen necessarily overnight. And 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 if they do, tell me how, because that's going into the next thing I want to talk about. But I think there has to be some investment that has to happen there for this to happen.
You're spot on. And the reason why I look like that, not that you're spot on. They don't happen overnight, but I believe in divine alignment. Speaking of alignment, and I do believe in
Mhm.
divine appointments. I
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
I don't think
It's,
any of
yeah.
this is happenstance. So your spirit resonated with me from day one,
Mhm.
and it's like talking about Mark Morrison. He says this to me. We talk about this all the time. It's almost like we catch up to
Yeah.
it. Your
That's
spirit
true.
resonated with me from day one. Balal day one, I day one, Brew day one. There was not a single person that's in these 5 boxes that there was a part of me that already felt like, there's the potential for this to be a long-lasting relationship, primarily because these are good people, and I felt it in my spirit from jump. Now, there, you know, there was times I questioned, but when I had the engagement or the interaction, be it me and Bilal, we met as teenagers on Teddy T playing basketball, it was an immediate connection. Kareem, with you was an immediate connection. Isaac was an immediate connection. Brew made the connection with me that was immediate before I even recognized it and appreciated it for what it was. It was almost like an immediate connection, and then we built on that. So yes, it takes time, it takes investment, but there's something to be said about that immediate connection that you feel it in your spirit. Like there's something here that I may not understand, but we all caught up to it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That, man, that's one.
Mhm.
There's not even much that to be said after that, because I feel like some things when they're said, you just
But you're gonna find
you let
something
them.
to say though.
Nah. You know, I'm, no, real talk. My only thought to say is that, again, when something like that is said, you just let that, you know what I mean, you honestly, you kind of, that's a thought you just let stay with you, and you know what I mean, again, over time it'll make sense to you, like kind of like one of those, you know, sayings your parents tell you when you were a kid and you don't really
Yeah.
get it at the time, you
Just keep
understand
living.
it. But exactly, that was the thought. That was the exact saying that I was thinking of. Is how my mom and grandmother used to always say, "Keep living."
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't get what they've been at the time, but
None of us
you know,
did.
I get it. And so to that's the statement you just made, Sans, is one of those. Like you just let sit in that one.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I remember one of the conversations. Oh, it wasn't a conversation, but I remember going over to Brock's house. This is when you off of Northland there, right? And I ain't gonna say the actual street, right? Because I don't want people looking you up. But but over in that area. And I remember just, we was just there, we was chilling, the TV was on, and I think maybe an hour and a half passed, and we ain't say one word to each other, right? And I think there's just a lot to be said about that. Like just to be in the presence of somebody, right, and have that vibe, and and be cool, not talking, I think says volumes as well too, right? And I think that speaks to there's that genuine, natural connection that you have with people, right? Because like if I'm in a place and I'm around people that I don't know or I don't even care to be around, and there's no engagement or interaction, I'm out of there, right? I'm doing something. I'm going on to the next thing, finding something else to do, right? But I think that kind of speaks a lot to it. And I think this kind of alluding to Kareem's segue is there's people out there. There's black men out there. There's black women out there. There's people out there that are struggling to figure out like where their safe spaces are, or who they can trust and who they can communicate with and have those conversations with. And for those individuals, I mean, like what do they do, and what's the next step for them to kind of get out of that space and find a space where they feel comfortable, or find people where they feel comfortable? Like what are some things that they can do? Because I think we all have our own. We have this foundation, right? We can get up, we can pick up the phone, we can call. One of the other brothers on here. We have family, that we can always vibe with. But there are some people struggling out there. So if there's any suggestions,
I think my suggestion for that is find the one or the two people that you trust. I think that's a key. We don't trust everybody because everybody's not for everybody. In life, man, we have a lot of disappointments. You know what I'm saying? And I always say every disappointment is an appointment, in life. Right? So for those out there that are looking for that, find somebody that you trust. You could have a conversation with about whatever your feelings are, your true feelings. I know sometimes I don't think men should have feelings, or we should just be hard. That's the way we grow up. I was talking about even having a son and giving him a hug and let him know that I love him and that he's a beautiful young man and this and this, and you're handsome, you're smart. Some of those things I never heard it, but I know that life has changed. You know what I'm saying? A simple thing of giving my son a kiss and a hug, man. I'm gonna do that every time. You know what I'm saying? Until he feels that, you don't need to kiss daddy no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. Right? But at the end of the day, man, we just gotta find someone that you trust. Let them know how you feel and see if they could find somebody to assist you. You know what I'm saying? And go from there. I know Brock says earlier, hold on, Brock, I'm coming. Brock said something earlier. Him and his wife. Part of it traveling is like their love language. You know what I'm saying? And I never really look into that love language craziness. I don't think it's crazy. It's everybody's thing. I never really look into it. But as for me going on my trip, and me going on my trip is work. You know what I'm saying? It's work. And it's gonna be an up and down motion. You know what I'm saying, here for me, because everybody's not going to get a bag to eat. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm dealing with. And emotionally will mess you up at times. But just for me to going and getting to be on a flight is relaxing for me. You know what I'm saying? It's relaxing for me. And then travel, I'm in somewhere different. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be relaxing for me too. So I don't know. I might have to look and say that's my love language. You know what I'm saying? We have to look
It's,
into that, bro.
it's the thing that makes you feel alive inside, right?
Yes, sir. That it make me feel alive, and
So
amongst other things.
this is where what I mean by my growth and expansion over the last few years, um, where y'all would have never heard me make reference to what I'm going to advocate for different reasons, but therapy, right? So I'm pro therapy, and when you are a person who may not have a network or may not have a person that you can go to that immediately rings a bell as relates to someone that you can see as a confidant. Sometimes the safe space may not be from a trusted colleague or friend. It may come from a person that you don't know, but give you an outlet for you to express yourself, for you to kind of work through some of that pain, right? Especially if you grew up in an environment where you were emboldened by a lot of trauma. Um, One of the things that, well, so not to proselytize, so I would just simply say therapy is an option that I think more men in particular, but women should exercise and take advantage of. And the safe space is not just it's not just, in my opinion, a conversation between you and another person. The safe space has to be a point where you can actually have some healing. It's an opportunity to heal. It's an opportunity for you to address or be able to do the inner work that's required for you to be whole and healthy. So therapy is one option that folks could take advantage of. The other is, and again, not proselytizing, but what I found to be extremely helpful when I was doing my healing work, I had to create a safe space for me, independent of a person. So I have like a prayer closet. Some people have like what you call it, the an altar, like whatever you have, like where you can actually go to your God, your source, like whatever, and just pray, meditate. There's a thing when you pray, you talk to God. When you meditate, God talks to you. Like be at that oneness, and I think that is an opportunity too. When you, because the world outside of you is a reflection sometimes of what's going on within you. If
Hmm.
you don't do some of the work independently, not to say it's
Sure.
not going to happen, but it should start at home, literally within your temple. So that's just two things that I would posit as it relates to what persons could do if they don't have a ready-made network that they can actually tap into: therapy, and then taking the time to kind of develop your safe space independent of a person.
So you actually you used the word, and that was actually my thought in terms of just in totality, and that is creating the safe space. And I think so. If a person looks within, I remember hearing that, and I want to say, I don't know if it was Maurice Ragland or if it was Rod Jones, but when we were brand new brothers, I one of them said, if you go in a room and you the smartest brother in the room, leave the room.
Right.
Um, and so I say that to say, if you look around at the people that you know, like if you going through something, right, and you can't think of anybody within the people that you're connected to who you can contact, call, and at least outlet, then you need to start, connecting with new people. You know what I mean? So so anybody, if you're not going through right now, or if you are, write down. My dad used to say, if you show me the five people you closest to, I'll show you and your future. You know what I mean? Write down the five people that you're closest to, and if you can't think of any one of them as being someone you trust enough to be a safe space to be vulnerable with them, if you're going through, or even if you're not, because one thing I know to be true is that even if you're not going through now, at some point in life you're going to go through. So if you do the work now, when it happens, you won't have to recreate the list. Then look at your list. Do I have somebody on this list I trust enough to be vulnerable with, and who will be a safe space with me? You know what I mean? For me, do that work. contact that person and ask them. You know what I mean? When I'm going through, or if you haven't already established that, do that work. And then to your other point about, again, finding a space, again, a sanctuary, if you will, creating a sanctuary that allows you to just be able to, you know what I mean, again, have peace. Because one thing I've realized is when my wife and I first moved into our house, our neighborhood was so quiet that was more disturbing and unsettling to my spirit than than I mean I than somebody robbing the house. You know what I mean? And because and I had to take the time and realize, like, it was because my conditioning was noise, dogs barking, police sirens, gunshots. You know what I mean? So my home, I had to get conditioned or acclimated to it being a place where I was safe. You know what I mean? Because I didn't always grow up in an environment where home was in a safe space. Was a safe space. So, create that safe space. And again, and to just so not just with in terms of people, but in physical geography as well. Create a sanctuary for yourself that you can have that place where you can really be safe.
I wanted to shout out just a good. I always say this is my big brother in another lifetime, man. But
This,
Sean
this is
Downs,
this is our big brother, man.
you said what now?
This is our big brother, man.
Yeah,
Sean Nelms is that dude, man.
yeah, man.
Congratulations to him too.
Yeah, congratulations to the good brother, man.
Yeah.
And speaking of, that Sean was even a confidant for me. We've had plenty of conversations about all different things in the past, and I just have a lot of admiration, love, and respect for that brother. So I saw he was in the comments. So I had to shout out the big bro, man. And that's a term of endearment. Whenever I call somebody big bro, man, for me that's like the I don't know whether that's like the top moniker I can give a person as far as respect, man. And that's the
Yeah.
big bro right there.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. So I just wanted to add, man, a suggestion as well, because y'all brothers have already said it. But another thing that we can do if we're not ready to reach out to someone is that we can journal. We can write down our thoughts. We can write down things that we're going through. We can use it as a place to process. And I know for me, like, I have a journal, that few journals I write in. Also, I'm a person that has like a lot of dreams. So I journal those things as well, because a lot of times those are depictions and things may have been going on through the day. Maybe some things that, I don't want to get too spiritual, but maybe some things that are to come, or a lot of times it's really just showing me and some of the things that I'm going through that I'm not realizing, so that's the opportunity, for that conversation to happen. So I do a lot of that as well. And then, when I feel comfortable or when the person feels comfortable and you feel like you could talk to someone about those things, then go ahead and do that. But it's really important, as all you brothers have said so far, is for us to do that inner work first. So we're not just saying just go out and just start talking and kind of laying everything out there on the line, but just being able to have that opportunity to ourselves, be a safe space for ourselves, like you said, and then being able to go out there and see who's in alignment with us and who we can start to build trust with in those spaces. So we are at our time, and I really appreciate you, brothers. This was a great conversation. I want to thank all the folks that are still sticking with us. Go ahead in the comments. If you want to go ahead and shoot us a comment or anything like that, we really appreciate it. Or just let us know you up and that you're listening to this conversation. This conversation one right here is definitely for the books. And definitely just want to say this real quick. I know Ike's going to do the shout outs, but just want to say, man, if y'all haven't gotten Sean Nelms' book, go ahead and do that. That's right in the chat right there. Go ahead and click on that. So that we can continue to support our brothers, and Sean is in another fraternity. But just like what we've been saying from the beginning, is that it's really about that relationship and how our souls and our spirits align. So, Ike, man, we had quite a few people on the chat today.
Yeah, man, love to see it. People definitely came through and shared some of their thoughts as we were going along the conversation. So we definitely appreciate everybody that got on and shared those thoughts. Vincent French, man, always coming on and supportive for day one. We definitely appreciate you.
Shout out to that
Uh,
brother.
yes, sir. My brother again, Marcus. We definitely appreciate and love you, bro. For joining us tonight, but just being the brother that you are, being the person that you are. Brother Clarence Shepard, again, one of the day ones, always jumping on. It was good to see you last week. Shout out to Ada Lambda chapter and the discussion and conversation that we had last week. It was a great time. Lancy Alexander, we appreciate you, sis. Appreciate the shout out as well too. And Dr. Nelms, we definitely appreciate you logging on, bro, and dropping these jewels. And if you are in the chat, copy and paste that link that he dropped in there. It looks like it's a link to chapter 16 of his book. So you can get a sneak peek right before you even go and purchase it. So we appreciate you sharing that, brother. And then, to all the brothers on here, Doc, Brock, man, we appreciate you coming on. We got to do this more often, quarterly. Will be quarterly or better, right? Let's aim for that. Get on, share some of your thoughts because your insights are important, and I think the world definitely needs to hear what you got to say, bro.
And don't forget, we're going to talk about finance at some point together, collectively as a collective. So,
no doubt.
Looking forward to that conversation.
No doubt. All right, so I will pass it off for you brothers to give some shout outs before we wrap it up.
I'll go first. I want to shout out to my wife, Brandy Hayes.
Well done,
shout out to you,
well done.
Glad you approve.
You know what? I see how this is going. So okay. I see how this is going, but that's okay. Count that as your last win. Count that as your last win. But you still shouting out, or you good?
Hey man, she's the one and only.
Okay. No, I dig it. I based upon just the topic that we touched on tonight, man, I want to shout out each and every one of you brothers, man. Kareem, having to be your dean, being in the position to be your dean, has been the honor of my Alpha experience, and it made me a better man and a better brother. So I thank you, you know what I mean, for it, and just the relationship and the bond over the again that started, before you ever even step foot on Brockport campus as a student. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for it. Isaac,
For the new year, man. Hold on, I'm not cutting you off. For the new year, man, I want you to work on being on time, man. Real talk.
Now I'm gonna be me. I'm just all I'm ever gonna be me is me. So whatever,
you know what I mean? That's what I said, right?
all I'm ever gonna be is me. You know what I mean?
And you shouldn't be anybody else, brother. You got that.
Nobody else, B. Nobody else.
Yeah, man. That's all I'm ever gonna be. That said, Isaac, man. So when my previous supervisor informed us that she was going to be taking on another role, I left the room, and I immediately called Isaac like, yo, listen, man, there's an opportunity, and if I gotta glean from somebody in this role, in this capacity, I want it to be you. And at the time I was just like, yo, glad that he was even interested, although he was like, he was on the fence. So I had to call him a few more times. But I say that to say I've gained even more. I thought I was just gonna, it was gonna be a good working relationship. I've gained so much more than I could have ever anticipated. Being under your supervision, and again, and it's only enhanced the brotherhood that and bond that we've been able to build over the past 20 plus years. So again, I thank you and appreciate you, brother. And again, you always being when people say their door is always open, Isaac's door, literally and figuratively, is always open if you need them. Brew is, again, he said it like, yo, he gonna give you, that medicine. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you, bro. For always, again, the same way I said I'm gonna always be me. Brew is always going to be Brew, and we all need that. You know what I mean? We all need somebody that's always going to be that brother that you know them to be when you need them to be that. So I appreciate you, Brew. Into my sands, I cannot say enough. You know what I mean? From the time 15 years old, man, to yo, we going on almost 30 years. You know what I mean? And man, I just go back to the day where we looked around and he was like, yo, listen, it, it was a lot of people that was interested, and then we looked around the room and it was two. He was like, yo, you going anywhere? Nah, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere either. Yo. And it's been locked in ever since, man. So I appreciate you, Sands. I love y'all, man. I love you, bro. To the greatest person, companion, partner, wife, life partner, soulmate, friend, mother I could have ever asked for. Uh, my wife, Satoya Smith. I appreciate you and I love you. Um, and again, no, those are my shout outs tonight, man. That's the people, the people who have in my inner circle who have made me a better person. You know what I mean? Who I know tune into this platform. Are who I'm giving my shout outs to tonight. So I appreciate y'all.
Next. Hey man, I want to send a shout out to all y'all brothers, man, and all y'all family members as well. Um, Big shout out to brother Mark Morrison that always hold me down, man. Brother Rod Jones and brother Maurice Ragland, brother Marcus Parker, and my guy Nick from DE. Nothing but love and respect for y'all brothers, man. Couple of Syracuse bros, man. Juice and Rashad. You know, love and respect to you guys. And to all my ladies in Rochester, man. A lot of love and respect goes out to all of you guys. I want to say lady frequently because I have a lot of you guys, a lot of names. Um, and but shout out to Miss P and shout out to Soapy. All right. And all my Alpha Angels, shout out to Thalia, who just become a Zeta Phi Beta sorority, part of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. She was one of our angels, part of the Alpha family. Love and respect to you. Peace.
I guess I'll add to the tradition. I definitely shout out each of you brothers for various reasons. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the misses because when I fell apart, I was fragmented years ago. She helped me put the pieces back together. And when I stumbled, she was there. So our relationship over the last few years have become extremely strong because she's seen me when I was at my lowest, and now she's been able to experience me while I'm at the highest that I've been. And not too many people are able to take that journey with you. And literally, she saw me at my lowest when I lost my marbles and didn't necessarily know how I was going to even make it to baseline again. And she did not lose. She so yeah, the only way. So I only want to get into all the details. I have to acknowledge that woman. I have to shout her out. I have to shower her with love because what she did for me, I can never be able to repay her back for. So shout out to the missus.
Absolutely. Salute. Yo, Isaac, you getting ready to go?
Yep.
Yo, before you do, just because James Waters is the
Thank you for doing that. That was the next thing.
listen. I'm not the man I am today without James Waters. So
Mm-hmm.
um so I gotta shout him out. I gotta honor him. You know what I mean? as it relates to Alpha in this brotherhood journey. I can't, you know what I mean? There's no way I can shout out, you know what I mean? Again, and I love all y'all brothers, man, you know what I mean? But I would be to use what my saying said, I'd be remiss to not shout out James on this platform that's built by Alpha. You
That's
know what
a
I mean?
fact. That's a fact. I second that. Third that.
Yeah, this is definitely I mean, what you're seeing on the screen right now is definitely a testimony of a safe space, right? And creating that safe space. And we shared a little bit about our journey through that process tonight, but y'all haven't really heard the half of it, right? There's so much that goes into it, and like I said, like we said earlier, like it's really something that just kind of happens, right? When you're around the right people, you have that feeling that and that connection, and you start to create these safe spaces. So if you are struggling with that, we heard a couple different strategies that you can take tonight: therapy, journaling, taking that step out to go and talk to somebody that you may know or you may not know, that you feel like they can help you along that path. So we definitely encourage you all to do that. I have to shout out my wife as well before we leave. She has been holding down this household, and I don't know how she does it, man. Every single day. Y'all know we got 12 kids, so being able to take care of them, and she still works, and she picks up overtime every once in a while. She gets them back and forth to all their practices every single day, man. Love that woman as well. So Ezra, definitely have to shout you out. For everything that you do for our family and for me. So definitely appreciate and love you. And as we usually end, we say, like to shout out all the Black folks doing amazing Black things. But hey, listen, you heard from one today in the chat. So, I definitely want to highlight Dr. Nelms, man. We definitely appreciate you, brother, for being the genuine brother that you are. Again, congratulations, on everything that just happened yesterday. We won't put you. I think it's on social media, but we'll let you spread that great news, man. So congratulations to you, and as you continue to recruit, build your family, and make sure y'all go out and get that book, Leading with Purpose: Empowering Others to Create Lasting Change. And support the brother in that work that he's done as well. So everybody, we appreciate y'all. Have a good night. Shout out brother Corey Johnson that just jumped on the chat at the end too. Definitely want to shout you out for all the work that you're doing, brother. And your beautiful wife, man, the work that y'all do together, man. True epitome of a power couple there. So I think that's it. We out.
That's it.
All right.
Good night, everybody.